Good morning, world of readers. I am Book Dragon Erin, and I would like to welcome you all back to my booktube channel, where today I will be reviewing Tentacle Entanglement by Siggy Shade. Tentacle Entanglement is a contemporary fiction paranormal romance standalone novel, and there are several other books by Siggy Shade which I will read in the future. I just don't know how long in the future that will be. However, some of the other books by Siggy Shade include Birched by the Krampus, Breeding with Bigfoot, and The Morning Wood Tree, which is a play on words, and it is so funny. However, if you don't understand the reference, you are probably way too young to be watching this video, so click off now. A young barista named Alexis hasn't had a boyfriend in years, and she hasn't even had a one-night stand in months. She's lonely, so her best friend, Jessica, tells her to listen to a Summon Your One True Mate podcast before going to bed, because that obviously works somehow. As Alexis goes into the daydream of Build-A-Boyfriend, she thinks, I want a man who is taller than me because I am 5'11" and taller than most guys I date. I want a man who's able to be kinky with me because I've never reached an orgasm. And I want a man who's obsessed with the taste of me so much that he wants to go down on me every single night when we make love. And in listening to the podcast, as Jessica recommended, it summons a tentacle monster from another dimension to Alexis's apartment, where he calls her his mate. When she puts up a fight to get away from Mr. Oddly Handsome Shadow Man, his tentacles hold her down to the bed as he tells her he's there to bring her to the highest of pleasures since he is her mate after all. She throws one of her sex toys at him, which he catches with his tentacles and then tastes her stimulating toy and asks for more of this delectable nourishment. Alexis is then taken by the tentacle monster to his own dimension, where she can't breathe the heavy sulfuric air. The tentacle monster then shifts the dimensional air, allowing her to breathe properly. He is there to pleasure her more than her wildest dreams could ever ponder. Alexis allows the tentacle monster to get kinky with her, and when they play, the monster uses his tentacles to bring her to orgasmic heights, the likes of which she has never known in playing with any other human men. Some of the tropes in this novel include tentacle bondage, tentacle deep-throating, double vaginal penetration, nipple pleasure torture, genital whipping, etc. If I talked any more about the sexual content themes, would I be demonetized? When the tentacle monster goes in for a bit of backdoor play, Alexis stops him because she has never done that before. The tentacle monster is both surprised and honored. He's surprised due to other monster-human couples having so much pleasure in the seemingly pleasurable sacred act, and then he is honored because he knows that he'll be the one to claim her backside virginity when she finally gives him the go-ahead. The tentacle monster, known simply as Mate, brings Alexis to the height of passion, doing everything and anything she desires. So he takes her anal virginity and urethral purity. If you think a male unit wouldn't fit in there, that's true, but tentacles can shapeshift, apparently. So, surprise! He also shows her the darker side of himself, who looks like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel. And he even shows her his physique, which I won't spoil for you, but if you're so insistent, go check out the TikTok app because they will show you everything you need via fan art for Tentacle Entanglement. It's honestly creepy to imagine living in the apartment above the place you work, where your creepy boss can hear you having sex. But that is what Alexis puts up with, because her paintings as an artist are far from flying off the walls of studios, until it's revealed that Alexis's boss has been stealing her paintings as an artist while taking a 50% cut from her to keep her in the dark about how many people really want her work. When Alexis and Mate find this out, they are absolutely furious. When Alexis talks to Jessica about the whole Finding Your Soulmate podcast, we find out that Jessica has found her Mr. Perfect and that he is a monster too. Jessica tells Alexis that the only way for their mates to stay in the human dimension is if they feed off the fears of their prey or devour a person while hunting. Now, Alexis falls head over heels in love with Mate, and she tells him to go ahead and devour her creep of a boss, which he does, and then he takes on the form of her boss, which is not attractive in any way, and they keep up appearances until he and Jessica's own Mate can integrate into the human dimension and get rid of the creep for good. Flash forward a year, and Alexis and Mate are now trying to get pregnant. So with a mating arm and her orgasms on every single page of the rest of the book, Mate literally mates with Alexis 3 times before she basically calls out to the heavens, "I am his, and he is mine, and I am now pregnant with his triplets." Fast forward once again, it's been 4 years since Mate impregnated Alexis, and they have 3 little kids, surprisingly, triplets from the time they hooked up with the mating arm. The little kids, all of whom love painting like their mama and have invisible tentacles like their daddy, they're all growing up as the friends of the other Umbra kids from the other companion novels in the series. Now, the Umbra kids are the offspring of the monster-human couples, which I might get into discussing in another video, but we will see. Until then, let's continue. Moving along into my thoughts on this book, this is not the first monster romance novel I have ever read, but this is undoubtedly one of the strangest. I can't imagine myself sleeping with a monster from another dimension, but I seem to have a thing for falling hard for aliens and fictional-only demons. Real demons, no fucking way. But I will be honest here, I don't date much. However, if fictional men were real, I would be known as the biggest slut this world has ever come to know, and I would let my ADHD run wild with how many men I would be with. Although the tentacle monster seems to be all-knowing when it comes to sexual gratification of his partner, he doesn't seem to understand the basic human activities very well. I mean, listen to this. I blink away the tears, letting them roll down my face. Your face is leaking. He places the tip of one tentacle on my face and gathers up the moisture. It's called crying, and the liquid is called tears. If I were to sleep with a sexy, gratifying monster, I would honestly hope he knows more about my biology than just the pleasure centers and erogenous zones on my body. Honestly, because I think intellectual men who know what they're doing with my body, that is so hot to me. I love that. This book has received so many negative reviews, but me being the perpetual optimist, I went into this book thinking it isn't as bad as people say. Although it is bad, leading me to imagine the tentacle monster as an octopus, and then imagining some sort of sickening beyond measure bestiality, the book is so funny. I don't care what other readers say, I'm giving this book at least a 3 stars rating. I love how funny Siggy Shade is as an author, too. Siggy writes about fictional characters having real thoughts, mannerisms, and beliefs. This situation can't be possible. It was a dream I had, sleeping with a gentle-souled tentacle monster. I'm a struggling artist working at a coffee shop and can barely pay my bills, etc. Siggy also doesn't mind making the heroine look so silly with her demands of the whole build-a-boyfriend concept. I want him tall, I want him muscular, I want him to eat me out like a starving man, wanting to taste me every chance he gets, etc. Siggy also doesn't mind the darker side to mating with non-humans everyone secretly wonders about from time to time. Are you a guy wishing Medusa would turn you to steel instead of stone? Are you a girl wishing you could sleep with an alien who knows All the methods of bringing the ultimate pleasure? Boom! You're thinking of mating with a non-human who, by politically correct terminology, would be a monster or a creature. Although I sometimes crave books that are just sex scenes with little plot progressions or character development, this time wasn't exactly that. So I felt the multiple scenes of steam and downright smut were actually a bit much. I mean, every single hole was filled and described in detail. Alexis and Mate did it all over again 3 times over to get pregnant with triplets with a literal mating arm. What? Siggy, my darling, I get you want to be creative in describing the male unit, but you've already run out of options, so this mating arm is the best thing you can describe? How about trying steely length of pleasure or staff of passion or something to that extent? Wait, don't use that. When I write my own smutty romance novel, I want to use those in descriptions. Please find something else. I will be honest here. After reading about all holes filled up for the first time, I became bored with the repetition of the actions while Alexis and Mate were trying to get pregnant with triplets, so I caved in and skipped ahead a few chapters right to the 4 years later epilogue and found it hilarious once more. Now moving along into my final notes on this book, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and as far as my official review goes, this book was so weird and so funny. This book wasn't my first monster porn novel, but it is one of the funniest that I have ever read. I heard about Siggy Shade's books last night and finished reading this book today. I found myself genuinely liking Alexis and Mate, even though they truly live up to their fictional personas. No one talks like that, no one hooks up like that, and no one goes to the opposite birthing method as described in this novel with the mating arm and a cervix. Doesn't work like that. That's basically a reverse pregnancy, which is disturbing to me to think about, so moving on. All of this together makes this book absolutely hilarious, so a ton of literary kudos goes to Siggy Shade. I loved this book, but I don't consider it a favorite, so that's why I rate it 4 stars and not 5. However, Siggy Shade, you made me laugh till my sides hurt, so this is the funniest monster porn novel I have ever read, and I love it. Anyway, that's about it for today, so if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button to show some support. Subscribe to my booktube channel to get more videos like this. Turn on that notification button to be notified when I upload brand new videos every single Sunday. Keep on reading and have a great day, everyone.